There has never been a ruling power in the world that has sought to conquer and transform nature as crazily as the Chinese Communist Party CCP. Since the CCP usurped power, it has carried out numerous large-scale projects to transform nature through political movements, the end result of which has always been environmental destruction and significant losses for the people. A prime example of this is the Three Gorges Dam. Since the Three Gorges Dam began storing water in 2003, it has had disastrous consequences on the ecological environment and public safety. Additionally, the dam itself, a product of shoddy construction, has serious safety and technical issues. The damming and water storage at the Three Gorges Dam has led to severe water shortages in the river sections spanning nearly 2,000 kilometers downstream to the mouth of the sea. Since the first water storage of the Three Gorges Reservoir in June 2003, the middle and lower reaches of the Yangtze River have experienced severe droughts in 2011, 2019, and 2022. Located in the middle and lower reaches of the Yangtze River, Poyang Lake, China's largest freshwater lake, is an important transit and throughput lake in the Yangtze River basin. On March 6 this year, the Jiangxi Hydrological Monitoring Center announced that at 8 a.m. that day, the water level at the Yangtze Station, representative of the Poyang Lake, had fallen below 7 meters again, the fifth time it had done so since September of the previous year. Since late June of last year, the water level of Poyang Lake has been continuously dropping. On September 23, 2022, the water level at the Yangtze River was 7.1 meters, the lowest recorded level since 1951. The water level continued to drop afterwards, falling below 7 meters on September 26 and reaching the record low of 6.46 meters on November 17. As early as September 19th of the previous year, netizens near Xueshan Island on the Poyang Lake captured images of a sandstorm kicked up by the exposed lakebed due to the persistent drought. The Falling Star Stump, a millennia-old island in the lake, was completely exposed. Journalists describe the scene as follows. The severely cracked lakebed could fit an adult arm in its crevices. All that could be seen were masses of dead snails, clams, and sun-dried fish. The local farmers suffered significant losses. Since last September, the water level at the Yangtze River had been below 7.11 meters for a total of 89 days. Historical records show that the flood level at the Yangtze Station is 22.53 meters, the low water level is 12 meters, and the extremely low water level is 8 meters. According to a report from China Weather Network on March 1st, a monitoring map released by the CCP's National Satellite Meteorological Center shows that Poyang Lake has recently dried up severely, with the water body area at its smallest in nearly a decade for the same period. On February 27th, the water body area of Poyang Lake was about 1,044 square kilometers, about 21.8% smaller than the average value for the same period in the past 10 years, and about 30.5% smaller than the same period last year. Despite the CCP's official media and so-called experts' efforts to cover up the negative effects of the Three Gorges Dam, the relationship between the water storage in the Three Gorges Reservoir and the downstream drought can still be discerned from their reports. On October 31, 2011, the state-run China News Service reported, according to the Office of the National Flood Control and Drought Relief Command, as of 5 p.m. on October 30th, the water level of the Three Gorges Reservoir has reached 175 meters, marking the successful completion of the experimental water storage task for the Three Gorges Reservoir in 2011. In a report from China News Service on June 1, 2011, it was stated, before heading to Poyang Lake for an investigation, Chen Yuwei, a researcher at the Nanjing Institute of Geography and Limnology of the Chinese Academy of Sciences, said in an interview with a journalist, the extensive drought in the middle and lower reaches of the Yangtze River this year can be described as a once-in-a-century event. When asked about the impact of the drought on the aquatic ecology in the middle and lower reaches of the Yangtze River, Chen said, according to the survey results, crop growth this year is much worse than in previous years, probably by about 50%. The animal habitat is also affected. The CCP expert stated, in my personal opinion, the drought in the middle and lower reaches of the Yangtze River this year is due to global extreme weather conditions. However, he failed to mention the fact that the Three Gorges Reservoir was storing water at that time. The changes in the water level of Poyang Lake directly reflect the changes in the water level of the Yangtze River. When the water level of the Yangtze River is higher than the lake, the river replenishes the lake, and vice versa. The relationship between the water of the Yangtze River and the groundwater on both banks is similar to that of Poyang Lake, however, it's not as directly observable. The Three Gorges Dam, by damming the Yangtze River, has altered the natural variation of water volume and water levels during flood and dry seasons to a nearly constant flow and level year-round. This disrupts the long-established reciprocal replenishment discharge patterns between the river, groundwater, and lakes, leading to salinization of the land on both banks. For Shanghai, the mouth of the Yangtze River, the negative impact of the Three Gorges Dam is the irreversible and permanent damage to groundwater resources due to seawater intrusion. In October of the previous year, Shanghai's 3 major reservoirs ran dry, causing seawater to flow in reverse, putting residents' drinking water at risk of salinization. The authorities kept it a secret for stability reasons and quietly transported water from other places. Leaked internal messages from Shanghai officials on Weibo stated that the water sources of Shanghai's 3 major reservoirs had dried up, the upstream drought could not replenish the water, and the mouth of the Yangtze River was completely polluted by saline water. Not only was industrial water hard to secure, the main indicators, such as chlorides in residents' drinking water, exceeded national standards by about 4 times. The whistleblower also said that ships were sent to Jiangsu by Shanghai officials to transport water every day, but distant water cannot quench immediate thirst. In short, during times of drought and water shortage, the Three Gorges Dam stores water for power generation, intercepting the water from the Yangtze River in the Three Gorges Reservoir area, causing even more severe water shortage in the downstream areas. When the Yangtze River floods, the dam needs to discharge floodwater to ensure its safety, exacerbating downstream flooding disasters. The Wuhan flood in 2020 is a direct manifestation of this effect. The Three Gorges Dam acts as an amplifier for droughts and flood disasters, exacerbating calamities, and this story continues to play out repeatedly. Let's now delve into the severe safety and technical issues that the Three Gorges Dam presents. Dr. Wang Wei Luo, a water engineering expert, has summarized serious safety and technical issues in 5 parts of the Three Gorges Dam based on the data and information he has gathered. From north to south, these parts are the Three Gorges Shiplock, the Three Gorges Shiplift, dam blocks number 1 to number 5 in the left factory of the Three Gorges Dam, as well as the flood discharge section. First, issues related to the Three Gorges Shiplock. The Three Gorges Shiplock is the world's largest double-line 5-stage shiplock. The Three Gorges project officially started on December 14, 1994, while the double-line 5-stage shiplock of the project had already broken ground in January that year. The shiplock of the project was constructed by the Chinese People's Armed Police Hydroelectric Force. To build the shiplock, it was necessary to cut through 18 mountains to create a navigable channel, requiring the excavation of a 300-meter wide, 175-meter deep, and 6,442-meter long channel within the granite mountain body. During the excavation process, 22,000 tons of explosives were used. Zhang Yongxing, former dean of the College of Civil Engineering at Chongqing University, and Ha Qiusheng, former chief engineer at the China Three Gorges Project Development Corporation, pointed out in their paper, Study on the Mechanical Characteristics of High Slopes of the Three Gorges Project Permanent Shiplock. 1. The high slopes of the Three Gorges Project Permanent Shiplock are long, steep, and high, formed by deep cutting from natural rock bodies. Due to the complex local geological conditions, the level of geostress reaches up to 10 MPa. Thus, the range of initial stress release after excavation is large, and the secondary stress film formed is borne by the new rock slope. This is a plane load condition, which is much worse than the stress condition of the rock circle, and the deformation value of the rock mass is relatively high. 2. For steep high slopes formed under large area excavation conditions, due to the lack of lateral restraint conditions, the stability and deformation problems of the rock are very prominent. Under the slope, there are often large fleets passing by and artificial engineering activities, so no large positioning blocks and small random blocks are allowed to become unstable. According to the requirements proposed by the Shiplock Metal Structure Expert Group, the time-dependent deformation of the lock chamber rock body after the gate is installed should not exceed 5 mm, and the requirements for rock deformation are very high. The risk of deformation of the high slopes of the Three Gorges Shiplock lies in the threat to the safety of large ships passing through, and the requirement for the deformation of high slopes by experts is not to exceed 5 mm. At the end of the article, Zhang Yongxing and Ha Qiusheng again pointed out, the quality of the slope rock mass continues to deteriorate with the excavation of the slope, which is manifested as the formation of tensile cracks around the slope, the continuous increase of peripheral displacement, the instability of the rock mass, etc. And its essence is the continuous reduction of rock mass quality indicators, the reduction of rock deformation modulus, the loss of rock strength, etc. They also mentioned that the use of explosives to form the high slopes of the Shiplock also increases the instability of the high slopes. According to the China Three Gorges Construction Yearbook, officially released December 2013, the maximum horizontal displacement of the high slopes towards the Shiplock centerline on the south and north slopes was 70.53 mm and 58.08 mm respectively. The horizontal displacement of the direction of water flow ranged from -6.19 to 34.19 mm, and the vertical displacement ranged between -14.57 to 17.31 mm. Liu Youmei, an academician of the Chinese Academy of Engineering and the former general manager of the China Yangtze Three Gorges Project Development Corporation, once said, "The maximum deformation of the rock body finally monitored at the Three Gorges Shiplock is only 25 mm, which is within the original expected range, so the structure of the Shiplock chamber below is safe." Zhang Yongxing and Ha Qiusheng mentioned in their articles that the experts' requirement for the deformation of the high slope should not exceed 5 mm. The risk of deformation of the high slopes of the Three Gorges Shiplock lies in the significant threat it poses to the safety of large ships passing through the Shiplock as well as the lives aboard these ships. In reality, the maximum cumulative displacements of the south and north high slopes of the Shiplock have exceeded 70 mm and 58 mm respectively. Another major issue with the Shiplock is leakage. According to the China Three Gorges Construction Yearbook, after the water storage reached 175 meters, the maximum leakage of the south and north lines of the Shiplock was 3,288.76 and 2,905.24 liters per minute, respectively. The daily amount of seepage is about 8,920 cubic meters. The Three Gorges Group carried out major repairs on the south and north line shiplocks in 2012 and 2013 respectively. After the major repairs, the seepage of the south and north lines was 756.72 and 692.13 liters per minute respectively. Although the seepage problem of the Three Gorges Shiplock has been alleviated after major repairs, the displacement of the high slopes and the seepage problem of the Three Gorges Shiplock cannot be fundamentally solved. Second, issues with the Three Gorges Shiplift. The shiplift at the Three Gorges Dam is the most vulnerable part of the structure. The reservoir of the Three Gorges, holding
22.15 billion
cubic meters of water, is only separated downstream by a few steel beams. According to the China Three Gorges Construction Yearbook, the maximum displacement of the shiplift's north slope towards the lock center line reached 48.24 millimeters, while the south slope of the sand flushing gate towards the lock center line had a maximum displacement of 36.75 millimeters. This displacement can directly affect the safe operation of the shiplift's rack and pinion gear system. In less severe cases, the shiplift may not operate normally. In more severe cases, the shiplift could destabilize, causing ship destruction and loss of life. The
20 billion
tons of reservoir water from the Three Gorges could rush out through the deep trench created by the shiplift in the dam, causing a massive downstream rush. In the article, Main Safety Technical Issues in Buildings, Zhang Zhiyong and Duan Guoxue pointed out, the artificially excavated slope on the left side of the shiplift is 140 meters high, with the machine room section having a vertical slope height of 34 to 51 meters. Both during construction and operation, the slope has stability issues. The upper gate of the Shiplift is a three-dimensional force structure. The foundation excavation deformation is complex, with the base sitting on a platform at an elevation of 95 meters and on an excavated slope of 48 to 95 meters. During construction, steep cliffs were formed on the downstream side and right side, with the downstream slope height reaching 47 meters. The above adverse conditions, coupled with the base being cut by faults F23, F215, F548, F603, and the existence of gentle dipping fractures, make the stability of the Shiplift's upper gate a concern. The Shiplift tower column has a maximum building height of 149 meters and is a towering, thin-walled structure of reinforced concrete. Because the tower column is tall, the operating requirements are strict and the load acts upon it in a spatial force system, it is crucial to monitor its deformation, strength, stiffness, and dynamic characteristics. Third, the 1st to 5th dam blocks of the left power station at the Three Gorges Dam. Engineering academicians tell us that the Three Gorges Dam is a concrete gravity dam, 181 meters high with a top width of 15.18 meters and a bottom width of 130 meters, stable like a mountain. Indeed, the wider the base, the more stable the dam. However, what the academicians tell us is only the height and maximum bottom width of the tallest dam block in the Three Gorges Dam. They do not reveal the height of the lowest dam block or the smallest bottom width. The height of the 1st to 5th dam blocks of the left power station at the Three Gorges Dam is not 181 meters, but only 95 meters. Their bottom width is much less than 130 meters. The question of how much weight they bear and whether they can maintain the dam stability is significant. Zhang Zhiyong and Duan Guoxue emphasize the deep anti-slide stability issue of the dam base of the 1st to 5th dam blocks of the left power station in their paper, Main Safety Technical Issues in Buildings. They write, the dam height of the 1st to 5th dam blocks of the left power station is nearly 170 meters, followed by a deep excavation of up to 70 meters with a construction excavation slope of about 54 degrees. The dam base has relatively developed gentle dipping fractures with orientations between 10 to 30 degrees and dipping angles between 20 to 30 degrees, and a few medium dipping fractures inclining downstream. These factors constitute the boundary conditions for deep sliding at this location. Given the significance of the safety issue of the dam and the immense challenge in resolving it, it has long been one of the key technical issues of the Three Gorges project and a focus of attention for dam experts, engineering geologists, and rock mechanics experts both domestically and internationally. Xue Guofu and others further pointed out that the decisive condition affecting the deep anti-slide stability of the dam is the existence of the gentle dipping faults, and the dam sections of the 1st to 5th units are located in the relatively developed area of the gentle dipping faults. Fourth, issues with the flood discharge section of the Three Gorges Dam. The flood discharge section of the Three Gorges Dam is located in the middle of the Yangtze River bed. It spans 483 meters and consists of 23 dam blocks, each 21 meters long with a maximum dam height of 181 meters. The dam body is weakened by 3 layers of large orifices, resulting in complex deformations and stress in the dam body. The entire dam section is equipped with 22 diversion bottom holes, which are 6 meters long and 8.5 meters wide with an inlet bottom elevation of 56 meters, 23 deep flood discharge holes, which are 7 meters wide and 9 meters high with an inlet bottom elevation of 19 meters, and 22 surface holes, which are 8 meters wide with a rear top elevation of 158 meters. Due to the high waterhead and large discharge volume, a series of hydraulic issues arise. From a safety perspective, each 21-meter-long flood discharge dam block has 3 water discharge holes with an opening area of 51 to 63 square meters, making it akin to a cheese full of holes. According to the paper Seepage Control Analysis of the Three Gorges Dam Foundation by Zhou Zhifang and Teng Jianren, the flood discharge section of the dam spans 2 parts. The original dry riverbed of the Yangtze River and the right bank floodplain, including Shijing Beach and Zhongbao Island. Zhou Zhifang and Teng Jianren pointed out that there are 67 faults and 5,827 fractures longer than 5 meters in the bedrock of the flood discharge section of the Three Gorges Dam. The bedrock of the flood discharge section of the Three Gorges Dam is primarily Proterozoic biotite plagioclase granite, with intrusions of granite and pegmatite veins and a small amount of diorite enclaves. In total, 67 faults have been discovered in this area, which can be divided into 4 groups based on their direction. During the feasibility study of the Three Gorges project, ground inspections and shallow physical explorations were reportedly carried out, and no faults were found. The bedrock was only identified as Proterozoic biotite plagioclase granite. However, after the National People's Congress approved the Three Gorges project, it was stated that there were intrusions of other rock veins in the granite, and faults and fractures gradually emerged. In 2002, journalist Zhao Shilong reported on the more than 2,000 fractures that had appeared in the Three Gorges Dam, mainly in the flood discharge section. In the article, "The Three Gorges Dam is seriously deformed and precarious," Marcone calculated and pointed out the problem of insufficient use of rebar in the concrete. According to Baidu Encyclopedia, the dam is 2,345 meters long. The earthwork excavation and fill of the main building of the Three Gorges project is about 134 million cubic meters. The concrete pouring volume is 27.94 million cubic meters. The rebar installation is 463,000 tons, and the metal structure installation is 256,500 tons, making it the largest water conservancy project in the world. These figures seem astonishingly large, but they are far from sufficient for the immense volume of the Three Gorges Dam, especially the rebar installation, which is only 463,000 tons, averaged over a total of 28 million cubic meters of concrete. Only 16.5 kilograms of rebar is used per cubic meter of concrete. This is equivalent to inserting the amount of rebar used in 80 pairs of ordinary stainless steel chopsticks per cubic meter. It's even more substandard than a tofu dregs project. Only 16.5 kilograms of rebar is used per cubic meter of concrete in the Three Gorges Dam. Furthermore, the dam construction is contracted out layer by layer, ultimately completed by migrant workers. In addition, the Three Gorges project faces a series of other issues, such as having a negative impact on the surrounding climate environment and problems with sediment discharge in the reservoir area, among others. Since the video is already so long, we will discuss these in future videos.